Guys, it's Lori. The other day I did a video on energy and a little bit of how energy works and how we can actually push things away that we're trying to call to ourselves or that we're praying about or whatever. And energy is all around us. That's how we live. And I know that a lot of people, more and more people are waking up, but more and more people are being deceived. You see it all around you. You see the deception everywhere. It's like mainstream now, and it's actually very frustrating for someone like me who has worked years and years and years to gather the truth, to come to know the truth. Even I admit it myself, there was a time when I was being deceived, and I've come to know the truth. And it's very frustrating to see the deception be so mainstream, so many people that are seeking, that are, coming to an awakening, and they are being deceived. So today, I want to talk about energy again, but a different aspect of energy, an aspect of energy where we may be open to attacks, energetic attacks, whether on purpose, whether from this realm, whether from another realm. And it's kind of interesting that it goes hand in hand. Now, I just signed up to become a distributor for protection. All their inventory is devices for protection, stun guns, um, pepper spray. They have different alarms, keychains on your alarms, a thing that you can put in your door, so if somebody opens it, it sets off an alarm. Different kinds of pepper sprays, different kinds of stun guns, conceal and carry purses if you do carry a weapon, a handgun. And just a quick note on firearms. I am so pro Second Amendment, and I believe that we should all be armed and know how to use our weapons, regardless if they're a stun gun, pepper spray, a baseball bat, or a firearm. The problem with firearms, I think, is some people are afraid of them. Some people are have no respect for them, and some people just don't know how to use them. So, if you are one of those people, if you don't know how to use it, if you have a terrible temper and you're going to pull it at any situation, do yourself a favor and don't carry one until you go through a training course, until you come to learn them, know them, respect them, and know your weapon inside and out, and respect your weapon. Respect just how powerful it is. Um, and then carry one, because you know what, you could be carrying one, it gives it, if you don't know what you're doing, it gives you a false sense of security. Somebody could get hurt, your perp could take it away from you. So there's my little side note on handguns. But today I want to talk about energetic attacks, energetic dangers, um, just by living in this world. We need we need to live in a world where we physically are on the defense, where we've got self-defense techniques, we've got self-defense weapons, but we also need to protect ourselves emotionally from attack and spiritually from attack. So I just want to explain a little bit how energy works, how we can fall under attack, and what to do about it. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so spiritual attack can go anywhere from, making you feel like a heaviness, like a darkness, like a almost like an invisible quicksand or mud that you have to trudge through just to get through the day. A spiritual attack can bring on physical symptoms. People have lost their eyesight, or vision gets, blurred. Lung problems. People have felt like they're being choked when there's no medical reason for it. Aches and pains, there's no medical reason for. Like I said, the heaviness, darkness, depression, negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts. And then it can also go into a different realm. You can feel like an anger that is displaced. You're just angry. You can have, and then it can go into more like practical aspects of life where maybe stuff happens. I'm not going to say everything is an attack. We live in a fallen world and stuff happens, but if everything breaks all at the same time, your car breaks down, your bank account is empty with no real reason for it, you can't find the mistake, and it stays that way. It's not just like, oops, that happened one time, I'm not under attack. Your credit cards aren't getting through, electronics aren't working, the washing machine breaks, the you know, there's strife in your family. These things can all be signs of an attack. Well, just like before you go out and about, you make sure, hopefully, you're protected. You look around you if you have to stop. Daytime and nighttime, by the way, a lot of people are falsely under the false or the misconception that in the daytime you're safer. You're really not. Just like some people think in the city, you're unsafe, and in the country you're safe. Not true. People go abducted either way. Each place has their own dangers. In the spiritual realm, there are a lot of dangers, and one of the big dangers is messing with the stuff when you don't know what you're doing, and none of us really know what we're doing. I've studied this all my life, and even though I was born with certain gifts, that put me directly in the danger zone without even, I mean, I didn't have to go there, I was put there. And because of that, I put myself in the danger zone trying to learn and being deceived, going down, asking the wrong people, that sort of thing. The deception, like I said before, is ridiculous now. It is so mainstream. The people that are trying to offer protection, the people that are trying to offer advice that gives you protection, are seen as closed minded, are seen as ridiculous, that they're not, their vibration's not high enough, and all of that. Well, let me tell you, playing with tools in the spiritual realm, calling on spiritual beings, not really knowing who they are just because somebody told you to call on them, that's dangerous. Okay? So please don't do that. Find somebody, and don't just read a book either, because anybody can write and publish a book. You don't have to have credentials to say, hey, I'm an expert at this and this is what I do. You don't have to. Anybody can write a book. And if you're a good writer, you can make anybody believe anything, right? So we have to be truly careful. We have to use discernment. Find yourself a knowledgeable, God based teacher that knows about energy. Go to your pastor if you trust him, if he knows about energy. I'm not going to say there are no closed minded so called spiritual people that aren't spiritual at all. I have seen some people who profess to be a believer and they are very closed minded spiritually. And then I've met people who don't profess anything, but they are open spiritually. They are believers and they're true believers and they know. A lot of the stuff that I might tell you now to keep yourself protected may seem like common sense, um, but for some it's not. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the mainstream. You gotta shut your TV off. Shut your TV off, or only watch, certain things. Like I think Netflix is a good idea, as long as you don't watch everything on Netflix. But you know what? Use discernment before you watch something. Don't believe everything you see on TV. I mean, some things that are designed for children, unfortunately, are just oozing with evil, right? Music is extremely powerful because it not only gets into your emotions, it gets into your thoughts. It's catchy, so you might find yourself saying, we know how powerful the word is. You might catch yourself singing along to something that's horrible and calling in negative. Music changes your mood, so be careful with the music you choose. So shut off your TV or only watch certain programming. Um, be careful, use discernment with the music that you listen to because it really does. Think about it. Have you ever met somebody that listens to like acid rock, or I don't know if that's what they call it, that's what they used to call it, but like really head banging, like hard stuff, like scream stuff, and it's all negative lyrics, or some of the rap that's out there, all negative lyrics. Um, I'll never forget these two little girls singing to me about giving blowjobs. They had no idea. They had no idea. But some of it is really, I mean, so you meet somebody that listens to that, really hard, and they're angry all the time. Music does a lot for the soul. Um, Another thing is, watch what you read, anything that gets into your mind. I mean, you can study a subject like say demonology. You can study a subject, but you have to use protection before you start reading all of that, especially if you're going to be speaking out some of these names. Please be careful who you make contact with. You might go to a fair and oh, let's get a reading, it's just for fun. And sometimes those people actually leave something with you. I'm not saying every one of them, but sometimes those people will actually leave something with you to try to get you to come back to them, or maybe, I don't know, to get your life messed up so that you'll come back to them. Just like a bad mechanic, an unethical mechanic will break something in your car. There are spiritual people that do that too. Then what about just your everyday people that you hang out with? The closer you get, the more enlightened you get, the closer you get to God, the more you're going to see. And I'm not saying, Jesus says it himself. He says, get the plank out of your own eye before you take the speck out of your brother's. So I'm not saying to walk around judging people, but if you see somebody who claims to believe, be a believer, and then they're always yelling and screaming at people or calling people names, or they won't help people, they're very worldly in their way of thinking. I had a friend, and she was knowingly shopping at this place that goes against everything we're supposed to believe. They don't treat their employees well, they don't sell a good product, they're dishonest, they cheat people. And she insisted on going there anyway because it was cheaper. That's okay. Or somebody that, cheats on their taxes regularly or cheats people out of money knowing it and doesn't say anything, but then claims to be a believer. You gotta be careful. Just please be careful. These are the things, and the weapons that you have. So these are, just like if you're going out, you got to be careful. You look around you, you make sure you have your weapons with you, your stun gun or your pepper spray or whatever, your handgun even. You make sure, like, you got your keys in your pocket. When you're driving, you put your safety belt on, or, the precautions that you take. You lock your door at night, whatever those things may be. You got to have spiritual protection, even more important, because you can fall into a spiritual attack without even knowing it. And some people are under spiritual attack and don't know it, and they end up taking their own lives because they just can't handle it anymore. This world is full of negative, so we have to be really careful. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy, I really don't. But please use caution, everybody. And you know what? If we as believers stood together, what a difference it would make. Think about those big, what are they, redwood trees in California, those ones that grow really tall and they're really big around. Do you know their roots spread out? So their roots spread out, and then other trees will their roots will wrap around their roots. So you're kind of locked arms, right? So if one of those trees, for some reason, started to sway, those other roots are going to hold them up. That's what we as believers need to do, is lock arms with each other, lock arms with each other spiritually. If you see a friend going down, gently and lovingly pick them up. Talk to them. Don't judge them, because but for the grace of God, there go I. But talk to them lovingly. Offer a helping hand. Offer a helping hand emotionally, spiritually. Offer a helping hand financially. Offer a helping hand in whatever way you can. Why? Why is it that worldly people do this and so-called godly people don't? I understand, okay, I don't have any money. I heard somebody say the other day, I'm not helping that guy because how do I know that he won't, go use it on something else? And I used to believe that, I just help and then it's between him and God or whatever. But now I don't, because money's so tight and that's the way it is. And I just thought to myself, well, if you're not willing to give, Don't expect to be blessed, you know? Listen to what people say, watch what they do, because you're going to know their heart. You know what I'm saying? You're going to know their heart. All right, guys. I hope I didn't bring you down, but I'm just talking about protecting yourself. Protect yourself physically, emotionally. You know, I have a video out there about how to deal with like narcissistic people, borderline people. You got to protect yourself emotionally. You got to protect yourself, you know, of worldly things. You got to protect yourself emotionally. You got to protect yourself spiritually. We're fighting a battle here. We're fighting a war. And we need, you know, nobody can fight a war alone. Your weapon is your faith. Your weapon is other believers. We need to stand together. Don't let your brothers and sisters fall. All right. I will talk to you soon. See you in the next video.